Xbox continues to tease its huge announcements and new games for this upcoming E3. We have new exclusive games, not to mention games getting more gameplay reveals, throw in Bethesda, and we have one of the biggest Xbox E3s we've ever had. Let's get into what's being said and what we should expect from Xbox this year. Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by and checking out the channel. Remember to hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support is greatly appreciated. And if you want to be notified on future content, hit that little bell icon. It really helps the channel out. But enough of that, let's get into this pretty awesome interview with an Xbox executive who talks about some of the games that Xbox is making. He also goes into Game Pass and what it means for them and the gaming community as a whole. In fact, the thing he says is that Game Pass and a new IP that Xbox is working on will blow your mind. Now, we all know that E3 is just around the corner, so a lot of news is going to leak a little bit. We get people claiming they know what the event will have, and we also have Sony and Microsoft trading blows, trying to show games that they will have coming to their platform in the next couple of years. But for now, let's get into what the article says and also dive a little deeper into what might be coming to Game Pass during this E3 showing. Here's what the article starts off by saying. Xbox exec teases new IP for Game Pass that will blow your mind. Xbox's head of gaming services, Ben Decker, has hyped a new unannounced game currently in the works at one of Microsoft's many studios in a new interview with Games Radar. 55% of those surveyed said the main reason that they joined is to get new games at release, that day one content. That's why we made the investment that we have, he told Games Radar. We have 23 studios across Xbox and Bethesda working on Halo, Forza, Fallout, and new IP that we haven't even talked about yet that is gonna blow your mind. We can deliver all of that into Game Pass on day one. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about has to be that 55% of people that are subscribed to Game Pass are subscribed for the new day one content. This is something we've talked about extensively all over the gaming media. Once Game Pass made the decision to bring all of their first-party Xbox games day and date on the service, it turned the gaming world on its head. And a lot of people thought it was a huge risk and that it wouldn't work out for Xbox. But as time went on and as more big games came to the service, you can easily see that this decision was the right one and Xbox was way ahead of their time for doing it. But the next thing to talk about has to be him mentioning that they have 23 studios across Xbox and Bethesda working on games like Halo, Forza, Fallout, and a brand new IP that they haven't even talked about yet. Okay, so first off, we all know about Halo, Forza, Fallout, and Gears. Those games have been at the center of Xbox and something that a lot of people love to play. But the one thing that a lot of people have been asking Xbox for is a new IP we can sink our teeth into. And from the looks of this hint from a top executive, that's exactly what we'll get. And if you've been paying attention to Xbox and what they've been doing the last several years, it's easy to see this was going to happen. It was just a matter of time before Xbox would start to release new IPs that we can see. This new IP that they haven't announced yet has been hinted at by multiple, and I mean multiple people from all over the gaming industry. Jason Ronald, the main engineer of the Series X, said that his most anticipated game is a game that they haven't even announced yet. Miles Dompierre and Jez have hinted at games coming to Xbox that we haven't even heard about, saying that there's huge AAA games that Xbox is keeping very secret. So yeah, this isn't news to anyone. In fact, it's just a matter of time until we get to see these games in person. And E3 this year might just be the place that happens, which is something that the article talks about right here. With E3 2021 so close, it might be that we get to see a reveal of this new IP before the summer is out. So start making your bets now. As well as Bethesda, Xbox game studios now include Double Fine, Rare, Ninja Theory, Mojang, and many more. So there's plenty of potential for something truly brilliant. The investment in Xbox Game Pass is proving to be a smart move too, with Microsoft recognizing that when it comes to subscription services, content is king. And this is where things get interesting because we all have to admit that the biggest gaming news month is usually June, because it's when most publishers and developers get things ready to show off to gamers at E3. And last year, we didn't have E3, but we did have multiple digital events that showcase what Sony and Xbox are working on. But now with E3 having a digital event and trying to make a comeback, we know that Xbox has always been a huge supporter of E3. They usually bring a lot of content to the event, which is something that might happen again this year. And after last year where Bethesda didn't show anything last year, instead they kept quiet because we know they were getting close to closing the deal with Xbox to join them as a first party team. So for 2 years, we really haven't seen anything from Bethesda, which is huge. Because we have to remember that Bethesda used to bring out 2 or 3 games a year, and not just small games, but huge AAA games. They had their own E3 showcase that showed off multiple huge projects every single year. And now all those projects are joining Xbox, so I'm not going to be surprised to see Xbox and Bethesda having a blowout showing. And maybe even have secret IPs coming at the end of the year, or maybe by even early 2022. Because usually Xbox uses E3 to show off the things they have coming in the next year or so. And then they'd have another event, maybe XO or something in November, that would show off things that they have coming in the next 2 or 3 years. So I expect this E3 showing to be a pretty big one. We've heard about Starfield releasing this year and how they've bought advertisement for this year when it comes to Starfield. Not to mention this game is going to be exclusive to the Xbox platform. So expect a pretty big showing for that game. Throw in Halo Infinite, and again, a huge AAA game come to the Xbox platform at the end of the year. Next up is the rumored Forza Horizon 5, which has been said to be set in Mexico. That's 3 huge AAA games we will get shown at E3 that have the potential to release this year alone, or maybe even early next year. And all of these games are going to be in Game Pass day and date, which is just insane to me. Because like the article mentioned right here, Game Pass is a huge investment for Microsoft, and it's already starting to pay off for them. But the one thing they understand is that content is king, which is something the Xbox executive brought up in an interview right here. We're coming out with this research to explore how people are using Game Pass and how it is contributing to behavior, says Decker, and it really reinforces a lot of things that we've heard from our members. That's key here because Microsoft has maintained from the beginning that the service would be shaped by those that use it. Game Pass functionality, availability, and catalog is all being steered by players as Microsoft works to build a service that can sit at the center of the Xbox ecosystem. This research, Decker believes, justifies a lot of the decisions the gaming services division has made so far. There are 3 big things that we hear from members that were reflected in the surveys. The first is that when we ask what do they want out of Game Pass, the number one thing, as always, is games. And if you look at the research, nearly 60% say that one of the main reasons they are a Game Pass member is because of the variety of content. And this is what I think E3 is going to concentrate on. It's going to push Game Pass much like last year's digital service showed off. If you remember last year, the digital event that Xbox put, all those games that will be shown were on Game Pass. They didn't really show anything that wouldn't launch on Game Pass, which is just crazy. Think about that. Every single game that they'll see at this event is most likely going to be day and date on Game Pass, especially the Bethesda and Xbox Game Studio games. It's why everyone that keeps up with games says Xbox only cares about Game Pass and getting you on the service. Well, of course they do. It's the most profitable thing at Xbox, and it's also the best deal for gamers. So expect a huge Game Pass showcase with plenty of games for them to show, including new IPs and probably new games we haven't even seen yet. And like Decker says right here, 60% of gamers care about one thing on Game Pass. It's the games. That's something that every single gamer talks about. It's not only the console and the power it has, it's the games that take advantage of that hardware or the Xbox Series X games that are able to be played on that console. It's why the Xbox Series X next-gen console has been on a tear lately. It's because they have so many games dropping almost every single week on the Game Pass service. And if history tells us anything, we will see plenty of games being added during E3 shows, and plenty of AAA games being shown that will launch on the service day and date. So expect a huge showing from Xbox Game Studios, Bethesda, and of course third-party games we haven't even heard about yet. I have a feeling that this year and next year, Xbox is going to really show a lot of games they've been working on. But I also expect the biggest showing to be from Bethesda, so they can show that Bethesda and Xbox is one and the same. And all of this surrounded by Game Pass. So expect Bethesda to show out big, and expect new games to be announced, and expect Game Pass to be at the center of everything that Xbox does. But enough of what I think about this. Tell me what you think about this. What new IP is Decker talking about? Does Xbox have some mind-blowing announcements coming? What games do you want to see at E3? Are you excited for E3? Will Sony show up to E3 or have their own event later this summer? Will we get multiple events from Xbox? Is Starfield and other Bethesda games going to be there? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support helps out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there, so get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamertag is Zalker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. So right now, I really haven't been playing a lot of games. I've been playing more Rocket League and Sea of Thieves, and games that I kind of just go back to. But now I need to get back into Resident Evil Village, and I really need to start playing Mass Effect. I just haven't had time. There's been a lot of family events happening. I haven't been home on weekends, and there's just a lot going on. But I'm going to really take time this weekend. I'm going to take time all week, and I'm going to jump into Mass Effect, and I want to get through all 3 of those games before we get into the summer where some of these other games come out that I want to play. Things like Ratchet and Clank, and then Biomutant also looks pretty interesting, but I might wait on that because there's just so many games to play, and so I can just grab that on sale or maybe wait for it to even go into Game Pass. Who knows at this point? But yeah, I want to know what everybody else is playing. Are you playing Mass Effect? Are you playing Resident Evil Village? Are you playing Returnal still? Or are you playing something on your PC that we haven't talked about? Go down below and let's talk about all the games you're playing, because that's what we're here for, is to discuss the games that we love. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.